for some intentional mods to help performance in your 2014 or newer 5.3-liter Silverado 1500, this Jet Performance Products 80mm Power Flow throttle body will be a mod that you'll want to check out. Now, this will be great for the Silverado owner who is currently suffering from symptoms of a bad throttle body, or has even narrowed down those symptoms to a bad map sensor or throttle position sensor, and wants an upgrade as well as a replacement for better drivability with their truck. Now, considering that this will stay the same size as the factory one, this will be for the Silverado owners who are looking for a reasonably priced solution that will offer more than the factory with the design, but not go overboard in size if you don't necessarily need it. Now, bad throttle body, map sensor, or even throttle position sensor can give your truck all kinds of wacky symptoms like decreased throttle response, rough idle, and even have the system running a bit rich. This, however, will come with an upgraded map, TPS, and a unique design to eliminate those symptoms and in turn help with your day-to-day drivability, giving you some better throttle response when you're driving. This will also have an 80mm bore, again, same as factory, but as you can see on the inside here, this will have bullet-style grooves etched into the aluminum, which Jet Performance does say that is going to help with the velocity of air coming in for an upgrade in performance compared to the smooth factory inlet. Now, this is made of a CNC machined 365 aircraft quality aluminum casting, which is just a fancy way of saying that this is going to be durable, rust resistant, and molded to the factory spec for a direct fit replacement. Now, on the side, this will have the electronic part of this system fully installed. That's going to include an upgraded throttle position sensor, as well as a map sensor covered in a tough plastic casing, being a direct plug and play, and it's also going to include a self-calibration mode, so you don't have to bolt this on and do anything fancy. You can bolt this on and just go. Now, this is also fully made in the USA, if that's something that you do look out for when it comes to your mods, and completely CARB certified with an official EO number, keeping this 50-state legal and up to standard. Now, this will be about $425, which is a very middle-of-the-road price and to be expected with what is brought to the table with this system. Now, this is going to cost a little bit more than a factory replacement style option, but rightfully so considering the improved design, but it's not going to be at a very premium price point that you may see with others in the category that are intended for super high performance applications. Now, in my opinion, if you want more than the standard factory option while investing in a quality built system that you can simply just bolt in and reap the benefits from, then this is a great way to go. Now, install for this is going to be as easy as it gets for a plug and play and complete bolting construction at a 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, and will probably only take you about an hour or so to get the job complete front to back. Now, speaking of the install, one of our customers here has actually put this on their Silverado and is going to walk you through the detailed process step by step, so that is going to wrap it up for my review. Let's go ahead and jump into the install.
Hey y'all, I'm Bobby. Today we're going to be installing a Jet Power Flow throttle body for your Chevy Silverado. I'm also going to be putting on a throttle body spacer through CNL. To do this, the tools you'll need right here are the replacement bolts that come with the CNL spacer, but you will need a 7mm socket, an 8mm socket, a 10mm socket, and an extension. And that should be all you need, with a couple trim removal tools. That's about it. We'll use that to get the power chip unplugged. So if you follow me right here, I've already have an aftermarket cold air induction system in here, but to take out the stock, which is what most of you will have, the first thing you will want to do is loosen your 7mm bolt right here for this clamp, this hose clamp. There's 2 of them and 1 over here. And then on the other side down low, attached to your alternator bracket right here, there's a 10mm bolt as well. And that's gonna be located right here, up on the alternator there. That's a 10mm. So 10mm bolt, 2 7mm bolts on the hose clamps, and then a PCV pipe plug here, a PCV valve, which unplugs just by pressing the hose clamp gray button here, and it just comes right off, beep, just like that. On both sides, there's these hose clamp buttons, easily done. So if you're taking out your stock your stock intake, just 1 10mm bolt that's hooked to the alternator, 2 7mm hose clamp bolts. That's it. And then you can just pull these right off. Unplug your PCV tube, obviously, just by pushing the little gray button. It pulls right up and out of there. Easy as that. That easy. To get started here, we're gonna go ahead and do this. All right, first things first here, we wanna do the negative, we wanna unplug the power supply, so let's go ahead and get that done. And unplug the negative battery. That is a 10mm bolt. All right, let's get it just loosened enough to just pull it right up and off. Then what I like to do just for safety measures is put a piece of cardboard or something like that in between the supply there, so we don't get any metal on metal, so we know there's no power getting pulled from anywhere. We don't have any shorts. And then the next thing we want to do is disassemble the PCV supply. So what we'll do next is pull this PCV tube off, which there's just a black button right here. There we go. Pull that off there. And then we have 1, 2, 3 8mm bolts on these hose clamps to loosen. Right. These are loosened up here. So what I want to do next is unplug my mass airflow sensor, which is plugged in by a locking tab here. So we'll pull back that red tab there. And then on the inside, there is a tab that we want to push down by pulling out. Excuse me, push up. That's what you do. You don't push down, you pry upwards, and it comes right off. There you go there. All right. So next thing we'll do is we'll pop out this intake tube here, move this out of the way, and we have our throttle body exposed here. And all that we need to remove there is 4 10mm bolts. We have one here, one here, one here, and one down right here. Those 4 in there. And before we do that, obviously, we will want to unplug our power supply to the throttle body. Now this one's a little bit trickier because this isn't just a slide back locking tab. Normally your first instinct is to grab onto this tab, slide it out. You don't want to do that. All you want to do is just pry upwards. This is where both your trim tools come into play. I like to take an edge. You can even use a flathead screwdriver is fine. Just be really careful. You just squeeze it in underneath this gray tab here, pry upwards, and then get another tool such as a trim removal tool or another flathead screwdriver. Put it in on the other side. As you're prying up, you just pop this off, just like that. Just that easy. Do not try to slide that tab as you'll break it. So you just pry up and pry off with another tool. So now we're removed there. All we need to do is take out these 4 bolts. First thing I'm gonna do is definitely take out the bottom bolts first, as if I take out the top, and if I take out the top ones first and then I do the bottom ones, they could end up falling out into the engine, and we don't want that. So. Right socket on there. All right. I'm gonna just loosen these up just to where you can twist the rest of the way off my hand. Keep your fingers real tight together as to not drop these bolts. There's one. right, let's get this other bottom on. Now we'll take out this top two here. Will move a little bit as you're breaking the last bolt free, obviously, and that's perfectly fine. Just be very careful. And there we have our old throttle body there. As you can see, quite a bit of dirt in there. Pretty dirty. There's the power supply. And then down here, I was a little worried about maybe having to replace the gasket, but it looks like it's still in great shape, so we're good there. We can use that same gasket. So with my throttle body in particular, I purchased a CNL throttle body spacer through American Trucks. All of these products, obviously, through American Trucks. So I'm going to apply this first. If you do not have a throttle body spacer, that's perfectly fine. You just install the new PowerFlow throttle body in as is with the same bolts. Obviously, I have a little bit different bolts. They're going to be longer because there is a spacer. So first things first, we just plug this in here. Actually, excuse me, put the gasket on. Like so here. Alright. I hope that baby sits on there for a second. Alright. And then the next thing that I want to do is put on this bad boy. So, what I'm going to want to do is grab one of my new bolts here, which should be longer. And let's see here. Let's go ahead and start this top up corner. Let's see how this works out. Get that started by hand. Just down to where it's finger tight, so it doesn't really move. You can line up the other holes easier. Obviously, I'm taking care with my left hand here to make sure that my holes, my gasket, and my spacer stay lined up while I'm doing this. And that one's going to be a little difficult, so I might have to use the tool for that. I'll go ahead and get this bottom one in underneath it. Again, these are the longer bolts that come with the throttle body spacer for obviously good measure. If you're just putting the new Jet PowerFlow on there without a spacer, you will just use the original bolt you pulled out. No problem. All right, we're ready to turn this bad boy down. Let's go ahead and get this one on here a little better. Cross tighten these. These are to be tightened by 7.5 pounds. So if you have a torque wrench, set it to 7.5 pounds. I'm just going to tighten them to where they're hand tight. I'm not going to crank really hard at all. No need to do that. So just about like right there where it wants to stop. Don't force it anymore. Like that. That's good. All right, just making sure these are all stopped. That's good. Okay. All right. Very good. So next thing we want to do is we will go ahead and we'll plug this in last. We'll go ahead and put in our hose for our cold air intake. We'll put that back on. Very quick, very easy job. Nothing to it. Tighten these back down. I need an 8mm socket, but if you're putting your stock intake back in, you will need a 7mm socket for your hose clamps. Obviously, it'll be the same thing. You may even be able just to get away with only undoing the hose clamps, leaving your actual air filter in, and just taking out the center intake piece. Like I said, it's just one 10mm bolt down here on that, and then it'll be those two 7mm hose clamps. And that's literally it, folks. You can just take it apart, pull it right out. Very, very easy to do. That's why GM is awesome, because it's very easy to work with. All right. So make sure this is nice and snug on there. I'm going to tighten down these 8mm bolts. It's lining up okay. Just make sure it's tight because I want to loosen it there. All right. Go here. All right, just tell her those are nice and snug as well. Just gonna go a little more. All right, should be good there. Nice and snug on there. Hopefully we don't have any air leaks or anything like that. Okay, then what we need to do is plug our PCV tube back in. PCV supply. And with either plug on your stock intake or this one, you should hear a audible click. Just like that, you know you got it. Give it a tiny tug, make sure it's good. Okay. And obviously now with this portion here, we're gonna plug our power supply into our throttle body. Just snaps right on there, just like so. Just good. Okay, and that's not moving. All right, now I'm gonna come back over to my mass airflow sensor. I'm gonna plug this back in. Obviously, make sure that your red tab is pulled out on it before you try to go plugging it in there. Make sure that's pulled out. Snap it on just like that. There you go, and just lock it into place. Give it a tiny tug, nothing crazy, just make sure she's on there good enough. Okay? And now all we need to do now is put our negative back on, give us our power back to our truck. After that, what we will do is we will run the truck for 3 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes, to let the computers kind of get used to the new throttle body. Obviously, you know, you did do a tiny bit of electrical work here, so you want the truck to be able to read this throttle body and obviously hopefully give you no trouble codes, nothing like that. So. Should be on there, good to go. Give one last look over, make sure everything's plugged in. Didn't miss anything. So obviously we're good here. We'll give her a check when we start her up, make sure there's no leaks or anything like that. And we'll make sure that there's no check engine lights or anything in the cluster on the inside of the vehicle.
So that is going to wrap it up for my review and the install of the Jet Performance Products 80mm PowerFlow throttle body, running on 2014 or newer 5.3 liter Silverado 1500. And you can find this right here at AmericanTrucks.com.